6 o'clock, we'll call the finance meeting to order for our budget hearing this year. Roll call, Mary?
Supervisor Gens,
Here.
Supervisor Nudo,
Here.
Supervisor Brookhouse,
Here.
Supervisor Gama,
Here.
Supervisor Gashke,
Here.
Supervisor Geertsen,
Here.
Supervisor Kirby. Here. And none of the YIG members are present.
Okay, they're not required to
No.
be at these, they're highly asked to, but they're not required, so. Before we start, Barney, you have an announcement about what happened with other committees pursuant to our budget hearings?
Yes, I'd like to read into the record, there were no recommended budget adjustments by the oversight committees.
Thank you. All right, first up is the county board. Let's see how much heat we can put on Monica. Just kidding. Yeah.
Hey, good evening, Chairman Gens and members of the Finance Committee. I'm presenting this evening the 2026 proposed budget for the County Board. The proposed levy for 2026 is $250,971, which represents an overall reduction of 1.33% compared to the 2025 budget. As you know, departments across the county were asked to make budget adjustments this year in response to fiscal pressures and the goal of maintaining responsible spending. The county board should be no different. We must do our part as well. This proposed budget reflects that shared commitment to efficiency and stewardship of public resources. The personnel appropriation is down by $1,652. This reduction is preliminarily due to a $15,000 decrease in the other per diem line, along with a small corresponding reductions in FICA and life insurance expenditures. This adjustment to the per diem was made after reviewing historical utilization and determining that a lower appropriation would adequately meet the projected needs. The supplies appropriation is reduced by $2,840 overall. Key changes to that is a $2,000 reduction in staff development, $1,000 reduction to mileage and travel, an $800 reduction in publications and notices, and a $500 reduction in other publications. These reductions are partially offset by a $1,400 increase in printing duplication expenditures. Each adjustment was made based on a detailed review of historical spending patterns and projected needs for 2026. The public liability insurance expenditure line item increased by $1,100. This increase reflects the results of the actuarial review conducted by the county budget team, which updated countywide allocations for insurance costs. For reference, the 2025 budget included a $10,000 carryover in staff development line from 2024, bringing the total available funding for 2025 to $30,000. Current projections indicate that these funds will be substantially expended by the end of the calendar year. So in summary, the 2026 proposed budget reflects a thoughtful and responsible approach, balancing fiscal restraint with the resources necessary to support the board's ongoing work. By making modest reductions and aligning expenditures with actual needs, we are doing our part to contribute to the county's overall financial stability. Thank you again for the opportunity to share this budget with you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Supervisor Pearson.
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval of the county board budget.
Second.
It's been moved by Supervisor Gearston, seconded by Supervisor Gashby. Supervisor Nudo.
Yeah, thank you. I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
One is on the staff development, which we got it with 2025 with $20,000, plus a $10,000 carryover from the previous year. And it looks like here that we're gonna be spending $27,000 for the full year.
Mhm.
So basically, we're not gonna have any carryovers from the previous year,
Correct.
pretty much. And I believe this year we're kind of short, to go bridges or whatever with money. So is the $18,000 gonna cover, or do we have, a little bit more on that? I feel very strong, for people that want to go to conferences, there's always something new to learn across things.
And I
We
agree.
want to cut it short for anybody that wants to do that.
Talking with the finance team, every supervisor will be allocated to go to the WCA. NACO will be allocated for the chair and vice chair for 2 people to go. And those expenditures will cover that amount of conferences.
Well, I disagree on that because I think that other supervisors should be able to go, to make more if they feel that they're going to do it. I think it's always done that way. And I believe I strong believe that if somebody wants to go and learn something that they can bring it back to the county board, it's always good.
Well, I know in the past when a lot of board members did go to NACO or they went to DC, the chairman gave them somewhat of a stipend to go, $200-300, but they did not pay for the whole conference. They did not pay for airfare, hotel, food, mileage.
I remember there was just a one time, I wish if I can, that, because I was involved in that. Actually, the only time that happened is I was gonna go, or the chairman told me that I could go, I was gonna go. Then some other people wanted to go. And I said, well, since everybody's, so many other people want to go, why don't we take the money that I was, to pay for me, and we split it between the whatever. I think we should have, more money at that, because I'm really committed to this. Like that. And, I'll make a motion to increase that from the 18,000 to at least $27,000 that we're gonna spend this year.
There's a motion on the floor to increase that line item, 18,000, line item staff development from 18,000 to 27,000. Is there a second? Is there a second? Motion dies for a lack of second. Any other, you still have the floor.
That's it. I'm okay.
Any other questions or comments? There's a motion on the floor. It's been seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
Thank you.
County executive. Does everybody have this? Yeah. So 311, 312, county executive.
Good evening, Chairman Gantz and committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. And two, just thank you for the opportunity to work with you over the last few months on this budget proposal. And this week is the final before the budget vote next week. I also want to thank the finance team for their hard work and diligence along the way. The proposed 2026 budget levy for my office is $471,910. This is an overall reduction of 2.68% or $13,017 compared to the 2025 county board approved budget. The most material change in this budget is the elimination of one full-time FTE, the manager position. The savings to the levy reduction is $89,683. The elimination was carefully considered with the rearrangement of the duties in my office. I believe this FTE, including the reduction, is a personnel appropriation is down $85,000 overall, with some nominal staff increases. The contract appropriation decreased by $2,300, which is in reference to a transfer to other professional services to the community outreach and promotion expenditure account for it, and then an account of $200 increase in telecommunications. These adjustments were made based on a review of historical need. The public liability insurance expenditure line decreased from 27 due to an actual review that was done to update the county's allocations. The last material change to the budget I want to highlight is the reduction of the use of $75,000 in reserves in recognition for the significant need of law enforcement's mental health services. I'm proposing to transfer the use of the reserves from my budget to the Kenosha County Sheriff's Office to offset the cost of the related necessary and important initiative. Highlighting the items of.
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval of the county executive's budget.
It's been moved by Supervisor Kirsten,
Oh,
second by Supervisor Kirby. Supervisor Nudo.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm a little bit confused. We're losing one FD, right?
Correct.
But the proposed, salaries is going up instead of down.
No, it's down 85.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at this here, projected 12/31 salaries, 255,000, and proposed for 2026 to 68.
Patty?
If you compare it to the 2025 adopted budget, it's going down. The actual for this year is down. It's that FTE she's talking about eliminating was not filled this year.
So,
The position that the county executive is eliminating
right,
was not filled this year. So it was budgeted for, but it was not filled. And she, as she said, determined that she did not need it in her office. So now she's taking it out of the budget.
okay.
So the original budget was 334,883, and this budget is 268,899.
But the projected is 255 at the end of 25. It's 255, and the proposed is 268, so which is about $14,000 more. So
Step increases.
step increases,
So
even though they would lose one person.
there are still people who will get increases throughout the year. They're still coming.
Right. I still have the office manager, and community outreach coordinator, which is Jill. And then Stacy, who is my executive assistant.
Right, I understand that. What I'm, my confusion is that if we're losing one, why is more than what we spent this year?
That's gonna always be that way because of step increases for the people that are there.
A little bit, but
Yeah.
if we lose one, it should be a lot less, but, okay. And then the other question, just, I understood that part, but do I get any money in reserve now or no? If you say 75, it's coming out of your reserve,
Right.
how much do you have in reserve?
I believe there was 150,000
Right.
and it's cut in half.
Okay, so that was the 150 that was put
And then
in,
it's being transferred into. to the
even
sheriff's
before, and now you transfer that just to
Help offset the cost.
offset that, to lower the levy, basically.
Correct.
Okay. Still a little bit confused, maybe, but it's okay. Okay.
Supervisor Kirby?
through the chair to, County Executive Kirkman, I'm gonna ask my very favorite question. What's included in other professional services?
We do a variety of things and obviously the community, we had the 100th celebration this year, so a good chunk of that money was used in that particular thing. Other things as they come up, if there are needs throughout the county, sometimes that line item is used to offset other needs throughout the county.
So things like events, celebrations.
Working together with the city of Kenosha and things.
Okay,
Historically, the county executives use that for studies and things that have come up during the year as well.
okay.
Because again, we haven't had a contract lobbyist, but that was a big chunk of that, a couple of years ago when we were trying to vie for federal aid. At this time, I didn't feel that expense was necessary since federal government is trying to do lobbying in different realms.
Thank you.
Supervisor?
There you go. You had said that there was a position in the budget that was open, but it was unfilled. On page 309, which position are we speaking of?
That is the chief of staff position. We limited that position.
Okay, so that's,
Or actually the general, we limited the office administrator. We combined the chief of staff and brought that down to the office administrator, the community engagement coordinator. Because again, I looked at what the office needed and, you know, throughout the last now 2 years, Jill has been filling that
So
role.
the answer to the question that was funded but not actually utilized and is therefore limited is the E12 position. Is that correct?
Well, we made the E12 and E10. And then we eliminated the office manager position, which is the E8.
So the office manager position is limited, that's an E8, is that correct?
Yes.
So when we take a look at E8, what's the financial ramification of E8? What's the pay range, pay scale of E8?
I think she
79.
mentioned that, I think it's 89,000. 89,000 with all rolled up with
Benefits.
insurance and everything.
That's my question, thank you.
Any other questions? So it sounded like your answer to other professional services was kind of for community outreach and promotion. Because that's kind of what you said happened there. So what goes into community outreach and promotion?
Those are,
Working with the city,
those are more, events that I go to or other type of things like that. The city, there's a $12,000 donation to the city, that comes out of that for their, Fourth of July events. And that has been a historical thing that has gone on for several years.
what are the reserves used for? I know what you did with the 75 and you reduced it to 75, but what are typically the reserves used for?
Just to reduce her budget. Her budget on it.
That has been ongoing.
That's been going for several years, for some time.
What contracts does the executive's office have? For contractual?
That's just the name of the appropriation. They call it contract. That includes the other professional services and communications.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Library system. Library system, 385, 386.
Hello, everyone. Good to see a few familiar faces, but I thought I'd start with introductions since I haven't met most of you yet. My name is Sarah Townsend. I am the new director for Kenosha County Library System and also Kenosha Public Library. I've been in the position about 6 months now. Moved here with my family from Virginia, and we moved here for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons was really the excellent libraries in Kenosha County and wanting to be here and work with them. Kenosha libraries are unique in many ways, but one of them is this unusual setup of a county system. So I am director of both the county system and KPL. We are the only Wisconsin library system that has this dual role arrangement. But this in the past has allowed us to operate with almost no overhead and instead to funnel funding directly into public service. And historically, this funding has supported tech infrastructure and resource access in all of our libraries in Kenosha County, which includes, we've got 2 west of the I with community library, and we have 5 locations here in Kenosha, as well as 3 outreach vehicles. The proposed budget for 2026 continues support in several key areas. Tech infrastructure to support what is one of the most important resources that we offer, internet access. For reference, Kenosha County Libraries recorded over 92,000 in library public computer uses last year and close to 300,000 wireless sessions. So it is in demand. Digital resources, KCLS provides access to some vital research databases, including Ancestry and the Kenosha News Archive and more. Delivery services is something that per state statute we have to support in moving books around Kenosha, but also throughout the state. And finally, the budget also continues to provide payment to Kenosha libraries per state statute for the services they provide to people outside of the municipality. So I've included some handouts for you. I'm not gonna go over them, but one of them talks about how library systems are funded in case that is news to you, like it was to me 6 months ago. So some information for you there. Before I take questions on the budget, I do want to point out, you'll notice an increase in the revenue coming through the county. This is in part due to increases in most of our contracts that we maintain, but the most significant increase in funding is to community library this year for services to non-residents. Without getting too into the weeds, this is primarily due to, we had one municipality, Randall, that pulled out of the joint library agreement and decided to instead pay the county library tax. So this means that their constituents will be treated as non-residents. So any library that they use, that library will get paid for their usage of that library. So it is money that the town of Randall will pay through taxes, but you see it reflected in this budget as revenue. But even with this significant change, I'm really pleased to be able to present a budget that streamlines spending, keeps funds focused on public service. And I wanted to end by sharing a quick story with you. So at one of our Kenosha libraries, we have a local artist. He spends most of his day outside of my office doing pencil drawings. And he'd always used our computers for research about his art, but he wanted to grow his ability to sell his art and wasn't sure where to start. And the other day he shared with me that he had started experimenting with scanning and printing his drawings, and he was able to do that through the library, through the equipment we have, but also the staff. So now he's enrolled in 2 upcoming craft fairs. And I know you all are talking about millions of dollars in here, but I thought it was important to point out that small act, that access to basic technology and staff who could help him was really transformative for him and helped him expand his small business. So your support of Case Phyllis's ability to support technology in our libraries is especially important. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I have my laptop because I'm new enough that I may have to look out numbers for reference, but any questions?
Any questions?
Mr. Chair, I move the library budget.
Vice Chair Gatsby
Second.
moves the library budget, seconded by Supervisor Gearston. So under the community library, it was 300,000 as an adopted number. Now it's up 165,000. What did you attribute that to?
So
I was trying to pay attention, figure
It's
out
all
where
right.
that money came from.
it's an increase in usage in general. All of us saw more people using our libraries, and people that don't live in our communities. Racine, Walworth, we get money from them for that usage. But for community libraries, Randall used to pay community directly. They were part of the joint library agreement. They voted to pull out of that and instead pay the county library tax. So their usage is now counted as non-resident. So community libraries budget will actually go down next year, but just where it's coming from is now coming from a different place, if that makes sense.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Circuit Court, pages 75 and 76.
Good evening. It is great to be here tonight. I have some wonderful news right off the top. I'd like to make a positive adjustment to the revenue portion in the budget. Line 443150. Judiciary law had passed a $0 amount on that, and I would recommend increasing that to $40,000. The 4E grant covers reimbursement for certain services that came into the budget a few years ago for advocate counsel and other legal appointments on CHIPS and parental cases. We had got notification that they were modifying that program and that it would negatively obviously impact the courts, and we weren't going to use that. Since then, we've reviewed it with DCFS that there's a portion regarding guardian ad litem payments on certain cases that'll be reimbursable, and so I'd like to put in $40,000 back in to that. Overall, in addition to, that, we are seeing a decrease in reliance on the county levy by over $300,000 with that addition of that $40,000. Of significance is the revenue portion. We did receive an increase in state funding to the director's office that feeds our court support grant. They call it a grant, but it's an allocation to run the circuit courts. It's by, each circuit. So the legislature did pass $10 million, per year for the next 2 years, and we anticipate that moving forward. However, the calculations that the director's office is anticipated to use is probably going to change next year. But hopefully whatever we don't get in that, we can make up on an interpreter reimbursement level, which are 2 parts of that. So at the end, it'll equal out. So there's that increase on the court's revenue. I feel our revenues are a little aggressive. However, we've always been able to meet those expectations. Barna has great faith in me, and I have our accounting department with, and we have such really good, strong staff in the circuit court that we're going after every dollar. So we'll continue to try to meet your expectations. In terms of the expenses, the only significant increase in the expenses on the interpreter expenses that's gone up over $100,000. Again, I think I talked to most of you regarding what interpreters are charging across the state of Wisconsin. The director's office is attempting to rein that in a little bit, but I am not hopeful. I do think that it is going to get worse before it gets better. But with that, I'll take it, and I would welcome any questions if you have anything. Some of the increases on some of the contracts we have is the bailiffs are going to be increased by 1.2%. Our guardian ad litem contract is a 1% increase, and a nominal. We have a part-time court reporter in our intake court, and she's being increased to $1.50 per day. So sent you my budget.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval, and then I would, if I get a second, I'll just ask some housekeeping questions.
Been moved by Supervisor Gerstin, seconded by Supervisor Kirby. Just a minute, Supervisor Gerstin, Supervisor Grady was waving at me earlier, so Supervisor Grady.
Question, when you take a look at the line item 445020 and go along and get to adopt budget $96,000, 2025 actually of 630, that's we included this year, up to 135,000, so it's more than anticipated. But yet, with the end of this fiscal year, 12/31, we're back on $96,000. How do you have an increased budget and have a corresponding increase?
So that's for county ordinance fines. That's a breakout line item. So all that money is pulled in, and at the end of the year, it's divvied out with 55% going to the sheriff's department, 30% remaining with my office, and 15% to the district attorney's office. Yes.
And what are the ratios once again?
55% to the sheriff, 30% to circuit court, and 15% to the TA,
15% to who?
the district attorney.
Thank you.
Supervisor Gerstin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When I look at the revenue part of the budget, and I look at the 2025 adopted of 3,913,000, and then we got, I don't know, $250,000 or 290, or, you know, a higher amount allocation for the court support grant, and add that to the 25, and then compare it to what we budgeted in 26, it doesn't seem aggressive. It seems most likely to me. It seems like that's a reasonable number that was in the budget. If we were aggressive, I think it would be significantly higher than the 4.2 million. So it seems reasonable to me. So that's why I moved to approve it as is. Now, we do have this 40,000 in here. I guess we would have to have a separate motion to add that to the budget. I
I was
was
gonna
at,
ask Barna how he wants to address that when I spoke, but
so,
do we need to amend it or can you just add it?
It should be approved by
okay,
the committee as an adjustment to the budget.
Okay, then we'll need a separate motion
Okay.
to amend their budget to add that in.
if you'd like the second to agree with a friendly amendment, we could include that, but then just get a discussion from, our finance team on that 40,000 change. Is that okay?
Yep.
So, to the finance team, through
Is
the
it okay
chair,
with the second?
Yes.
Okay.
through the
Continue.
chair, were you aware of the 40,000, that we got notice of the 40,000? Just, go ahead.
Right, I was gonna say, we became aware after the judiciary and law meeting that the 40 revenue might have some potential to have some funding, so we worked, we were aware that Circuit Court was working with DHS to get that figured out. I didn't know what that number was gonna be till Becky came forward tonight with what their estimates are.
And J-Law had no amendments, so we should make them aware, so they know. But I'm okay with adding the 40 and reducing the levy by the 40. Unless there's some reason we shouldn't do it, so. I think my motion, Mr. Chairman, and the second is to approve this budget with the 40,000 as the 40,000 levy reduction and the 40,000 revenue increase as recommended by the Circuit Court. So that's just to clarify that, so. And I yield, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Register of deeds, 290, 291.
So soon, so early. This is nice. Well, this is my first time doing a budget presentation, so let you forgive me if I'm a little out of sorts, I guess, but I felt good about my budget and preparing it, had some good help in the finance department. The numbers that I came up with, of course, were based off of our last 3 years of, basically our income comes from the real estate transfer fees and from the register of deeds fees for vital records and copies of documents and such. And I came up with what I felt was a good number. It was lower than what was projected for this year. I had 775,000 for real estate transfer fees and 650,000 for register of deeds fees. And when I look at the year to date from this time last year, we are up about 20% in real estate transfer fees and about 9% in register of deeds fees, and our vital records has also increased. So I felt good with my projections for 2026. I know was brought back to me to try to attain 810,000 in transfer fees. That would be wonderful. I would like to see that. I know the interest rates are going down. There's been much more development in Kenosha County. So I feel good about the budget for next year. It's like the gap is closing on projected amount and so forth, but I'm a little hesitant with 810,000, but I'm gonna strive for the best. So I also in my budget, I put in an increase for a few different areas of revenue. And I had submitted that over to everybody, and basically a couple of the fees that I would like to increase are our real estate search fees when people come in and purchase copies of documents, and a fee of $5
for several years now, I believe since 1992, and I wanted to increase that to $7. And I included a chart showing the growth that we did, or the increase in revenue we would get from that increase. Also, we have a Landshark. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, but Landshark is our online website for purchasing documents. They also have a $5 service fee when they use the program. I wanted to increase that to $7 as well. And it's comparable to what other counties are charging. I also am asking for an increase in copies of plats. People's customers come to us to purchase plats. They're currently at $3. I wanted to increase that to $5. That seems to be a very common fee that other counties are also shooting for. And I don't know if I'm going too fast or if you have a question. Okay. We have, you're probably familiar with CoreLogic and Zillow. They purchase our documents on a monthly basis. Currently, they pay $800 and they receive 10,000 images. And typically, our recorded documents we don't have more than 10,000 images, but they're getting every one of our document images that we record. And we also have these, what they're called monthly subscribers. They pay $800, the same amount, for up to 10,000 images, and they don't use nearly that amount. They maybe receive like 6,000 images. So my point in increasing it is that like CoreLogic and Zillow actually are getting 10,000 images, and I feel they're getting a really good deal at $800, and I wanted to increase that to $1,000 a month. I feel that's much cheaper than if they were to pay a per document fee, but it's a little bit of an increase. My expense accounts, I pretty much am keeping those the same in regards to my mileage and travel, my supply accounts. The only thing I did reduce was the staff development. Last year, Joellen and I had increased it because I was going to a lot of meetings and seminars with her. And now that it's just myself going, I was able to reduce that a little bit, like $400. Basically, that's what I have. I do like that I'm seeing a lot more development in Kenosha. Is exciting with the interest rates going down. I feel positive that the revenue will be on the better side for next year versus this year, especially when I look at the year to date, the increases already. So, you have any questions for me or anything more I can explain?
Supervisor Nato.
Yeah, could you go back on the register of these fees?
Yes.
Again, what was that included there? Where are those fees coming?
So that's a breakdown of a lot of different areas in our office. So for example, we have, we record documents for real estate. It's $30 recording fee. $15 of that goes into the register of deeds fund. The other 15 of it goes to the state, goes to land information, but that 15 goes into our register of deeds account. We also sell vital records, and we receive a percentage of that goes into that account. So it's kind of made up of a few different areas that are all growing.
Because I was looking at the transfer tax.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I feel comfortable with that to going up because it seems like, next year it's going to be a better year than this year. So I kind of feel comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other one, this register of these fees going from, this year we expect to go 600,000 going to 675 now. Which was, this year was less, it's gonna be less than what we had projected. And now we're going up to 675. I don't know. I mean, you feel comfortable with that, I'm okay. But I just wanna see what it is, because I don't know what.
Yes. I feel, well, what I projected was 650, that was 50,000 more than when I did my averages over 3 years.
Yeah.
So I felt with the economy getting a little better,
Right.
that I could reach 650, 675. And I mean, I would like to reach that, but I projected 650, so I'm a little uncomfortable with the 675 and the 810,000 for transfer fees. So,
You think we should lower that? If you're uncomfortable with it?
well, when I look at, yes, when I look at the last 3 years and did my math, I was coming up with around $600,000. So I increased it to the 650, thought that was enough of I felt comfortable increasing it to that amount. I'm not as comfortable with 675. I just
And what about
can't project that.
I'm sorry, what about the transfer tax? Are you comfortable with the 810 or you're uncomfortable with that? Even though I'm gonna comment before with that, I kind of feel confident because, you know, I wasn't really sick all the times that I can see it all the.
I feel more confident increasing the transfer fees versus the register of deeds fees because the transfer fees, we have been recording many subdivisions, which means a lot of deeds are getting recorded with transfer fees, and with the interest rate going down, there'll be refinances and so forth. So I feel comfortable with the 810, probably more than I do the 675.
Well, I will make a motion that we reduce the register of deeds fees from 675 to 600,000.
It's been moved by Supervisor Nudo. Is there a second to reduce that line item $25,000? Nope. Dies for lack of second.
Higgins, I select the floor.
You do still have the floor. Yep.
I think it's pretty sad when the director of the department says he's uncomfortable with increasing that much. Nobody, this committee, as the, I don't know what the Woodbridge board does, to go along with that and reduce it. Because we can put anything we want on papers. But to make it look good or to sound good right now, we're gonna suffer the cold. Whoever's gonna be there after us is gonna suffer the consequences for being too. Right? It's okay to be positive, whatever, so, you know, hoping for the best, but when we're told it's all on us now, we don't reach them. It's on this committee and of course the county board because of all that. Thank you.
Sure. I didn't go along with it because I haven't got to ask my questions and I have a lot of questions to ask, so
No,
that's why I didn't go along, just for your information.
no, that's fine. I just said it in a second. That's why I figured that nobody's, you know, or we're all in it together. I'm sorry, we're all in it together. That's why I said it's a committee, whether I vote yes, no, whatever. It's whatever the committee decides, majority decides, and, if we're part of the committee, we're part of what, it's gonna be voted on.
Supervisor Kirby?
So through the chair to actually Patty and Varna, so I think you probably know a little bit about this. I'm very aware of the limitations of looking at like a historical look back for coming up with the future projection. I'm also definitely sensitive, to your feeling that you're not quite sure you can achieve that. So, can you give us some more information on what goes into that number and how we got there?
So just to dispel, so when she said that she was comfortable with 650,000, looking back historically, that didn't include the increase to the fees. We
Oh,
calculated that was another 24,000. So that's why that's 675.
okay.
So it's not a overestimation of confidence. It's including all the fees together
Okay.
along with the approval of the increased fees.
Anything else, Supervisor Kirby?
Nope, that's it.
Supervisor Gearston?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll make a motion to approve the Register of Deeds budget if I get a second, and I'd like the floor to make some comment.
Moved by Supervisor Gearston, seconded by Supervisor Gama to approve this budget. Supervisor Gearston. have
Thank
the
you.
floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think this revenue budget looks reasonable to me. And I was gonna actually say, and then the budget director took the words out of my mouth. We got this nice report. This was a very good report. Thank you so much. And it opened my eyes to several things here. One is, we hadn't increased rates for some time in certain areas, so a tip of the cap for working so hard to do that and help reduce taxes here in the county. And then we heard that the moving of the 650 to the 675 is based on these higher fees. And the other thing that it makes you understand is as the market gets more active as possible, rates decline and possible sales increase, and we've got this analysis of the fees, there still is room here to increase these a little more. That's what this opened my eyes to. In order to get this, I mean, you have these gigantic billion-dollar companies, Zillow and CoreLogic, that we're selling these mass data to, and the property taxpayers here in Kenosha shouldn't have to subsidize their businesses. So if we end up needing to increase rates a bit in order to make the budget balance, we have cushion to do that, and that's what this report makes clear. So this revenue budget did seem reasonable. I thought it was a good move to reduce property taxes by the good work that the Register of Deeds did to review fees. And that's why I made the motion to approve the budget. So, and with that, I yield.
Any other questions or comments? Well, my concern is we talk about feelings. You know, this is numbers. You know, I feel like you get this, I don't feel, there's a lot of feeling going on when I really want to know about numbers. So, Farna, where did we get the increase in the numbers, the revenue numbers for the different fees? I mean, were those checked with other counties, and I mean, are those things that?
So we do the same thing that the department does. We could do a historical look back and then see if the amount that the department, or in this case, the public official, believes is a good budget number. And in this case, she also presented a case to increasing some of these fees that would generate more revenue. So a combination of those two got us to the number for the Register of Deeds. On the fees and transfer tax revenue line item, that was a historical look back and contemplating the economic outlook that we're looking forward to and looking at it from that standpoint. Overall, we are taking that revenue line item down by 40,000. And we typically ramp revenues like this, ramp it down gradually over time. See that there's a material difference between what we budget and what is coming in.
Right, I mean, you may take it down 40,000, but we're only at 710 in what we project at 1231. So really, you could say you're bringing it down 40, but we're also increasing it by 100,000. So I mean, and if you've looked at trends, and this is what you do. So, you know, I'm just saying, I don't want to have, you know, the department head saying, I'm a little nervous about this, and, you know, I feel we can hit this, or I don't feel we can hit this. We need to have information and numbers to back that up. And that's what I'm asking you now. So that's why I didn't second Supervisor Nudo's motion, because I wanted to hear where that came from. I mean, 25,000 in increase in revenue because of the increase in the fees makes sense to me. But we also need to make sure that we're not just increasing revenue, not just in this department, in any department, to hit numbers. So I've been a part of that in the past, and it doesn't sit well with me. So, you know, I'm not expecting this to cave in on us, but we want to make sure that we're using numbers that we can show over a period of time. And you're confident that that's the case?
Yes.
Okay. Supervisor Nudo.
Well, but I just want to comment that everybody's talking about 650. they were increasing by $25,000 because of the increase in the service fees or whatever you want to call it. No, we're talking about an increase of 75,000 because the 650 was the budget. However, the projected at the end of this year, it's only 600,000. So the 650, it's out of the budget right now. So we gotta look, we went from 600 to 675. Only because it's going up a couple of dollars in fees. So, and we keep on saying, well, we only went from 650 to 675. No, that's not true. We went from 600 to 675. 650 was the projected, which we did not reach it, just like you said for the transfer fees. Oh, we're talking, we went down 40,000, but actually we went down, we went up. What is it, 100,000, something like, yeah, went up 100,000 for the same reason. Because from what we projected, what we received, it's a different thing. Now, if we're trying to put those numbers to make the budget look good and come in with a levy at 2.98 instead of 0.375, if we put everything in there, and actually more. Because, you know, we gave on the budget overall $500,000 from Brookside, $75,000 from the county executive reserve, just to keep that below the 3% levy. I don't think it's right. I mean, we should go with the numbers that we believe we're gonna be able to achieve. And if the levy comes out a little over 3% or whatever, so be it. As long as we put what's needed and not what's a wish or maybe let's increase this year so the budget will look good. We're gonna look good because we can say, hey, we kept on the percent levy. And then what? Then what happens? But again, just going back from this year, I got a little bit carried away, but what we have is we gotta talk not from 650 to 675. We gotta talk from 600 to 675. And the same thing, which in a way I kind of felt, maybe I'm wrong, it's the same thing that I was good. And she's kind of felt good with transfer tax. Okay, so I left that alone, but this year, that's why I wanted to do it. That was the reason why I made the motion. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No,
Supervisor Nudo votes no. Thank you. 650, joint services, 93 and 92. Okay, everybody ready? We're good. Go ahead, Josh.
Appreciate the time. Joint services, the board approved a budget on September 2nd this year. And that budget is, the county's portion of that budget is in their budget there. I want to just touch on some of the highlights for joint services. So the total operating budget for joint services for 2026 will be $12,154,485. That includes an expenditures increase in excess of revenues of $368,000. The total levy increase for joint services is $388,000 in 2026. The county's portion of that is the $275,337. Was that?
Nothing.
The city's portion of the budget increase for this year is $112,680. So, and some of that, it's not 50-50 offset, it's an offset based on a formula between in the IGA, and the figures there are also sometimes they fluctuate from year to year based on apportionment ratios that we get from the state. So that percentage changes from year to year.
Some of the challenges that we have, with joint services continue to be, personnel services. So the board is addressing that through, wages, trying to especially with the, 911 telecommunicators, upping the starting wages there and, an overall 1.5% pay scale increase. And then maintaining benefits. So we have a 3.2% health insurance increase from year to year. Our premium are going up at a rate of about 6%, but we're seeing demographics coming, bringing that overall account down. In our contractual services and in our equipment, we are pursuing grants. The state in 2026 has put out $18 million for PSAP grants or 911 center grants. So joint services has applied for grants as much as we can. It's typically capped year to year is how much we can get. We're still waiting to close out everything from this year, but in 2025, it's roughly about $400,000 in grants that we're getting back from the states to replace things like 911 equipment. So for 2026, we've applied for grant money to replace the recording system. That will, it's actually a refresh of the current system, but be covered 90% by the state grant. So there's some funds that we will need in the budget to offset the local matches for that. And then there's some additional software that we're looking at for the dispatch center that will help offset some of the tasks that the dispatchers do and enhance their ability to do their job. So there's some new technologies that we're looking at as part of this budget as well. Overall supplies and materials, we're seeing a slight decrease just because of the potential fuel costs that we deal with. Mainly the sheriff's department has been over time transitioning into getting more fuel out at 45 and 50 than versus down here at the public safety building. So that's creating a slight decrease in that line item, which is one of our largest expenses in supplies and materials. And then we do expect a slight increase in parts and labor just from year to year for the maintenance of the vehicles for both the police and the sheriff's department. So with that, that's kind of an overall look at the joint services budget. And with that, I can answer any questions.
Any supervisors, questions, comments? Supervisor Gearston.
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval and then I have a question if I get a second.
Has been moved by Supervisor Gearston, seconded by Vice Chair Gashke. Supervisor Gearston, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through the chair to Budget Director. Of the levy increase, how much of it was due to the shift of between the county and the city because of
The change in the formula, I believe it was, see, 270. We have 275.
So it's really not a tax increase, it's just the way it shifted between the governments. So good, thank you. That's my question. I yield.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. District Attorney Victim Witness, 6768.
Evening.
That's not the handouts that I emailed. I believe you guys wanted hard copies,
Yeah.
so I'm passing them out. Please send them.
Does anybody need one?
I need one.
Yeah, I need one.
I need one.
Thank you, Gabe. You have the floor.
I was waiting for Supervisor to do it again. So looking at the salaries, you'll see, an increase on the salaries. I would defer to, Mr. Barnum, that I believe, if you want to explain why there's an increase on those salaries.
Those are based on the salary increases for county employees and their benefits related to.
And then when we go to the data processing, there is an increase of $82,000 that has to do with the Exxon Justice. Those are the handouts that I did pass out. What that does is that we can then process our discovery, we can process the body camera that law enforcement officers have. Kenosha Police Department has now gone to Axon Justice. Majority of the body camera footage we get is from Axon. Twin Lakes Police Department currently uses Axon. Pleasant Prairie currently is on Genetec. However, they, I believe, may go to Axon, and I believe the sheriff's office may go in a couple years to Axon. But we can then take all their discovery or all their digital footage, and then we could upload it into the Axon Justice that we're asking for. As to other professional services, there is, that's the 4E grant. So with that grant, that covers the salary of the assistant district attorney who does the CHIPS and TPR cases. And that also covers our diversion court assistant district attorney. She's the one that does the drug court and any other diversion courts. So that's where our other services, our other professional services come from. Any other big increase would be thought there was a bigger one. The only other one is the expert witness. I would ask that to continue on a rolling basis. So what we use expert witness for is for jury trials, such as we need the coroner from, or the medical examiner from Milwaukee, or we need an expert witness on a certain type of case. So we don't know when we will need those expert witness fees, but we will need them as jury trials go on. So I would ask for us to, we can keep that on a rolling basis. There is I believe there is a $1,000 on furniture. However, we did get a grant for a couch for victim witness, a room that we have at the courthouse. So that's where you would see an increase on $1,000 on the furniture for victim witness. And I would direct your attention to page 70. Not sure if it's reflected on there. It does not. So where you look at victim witness revenue, number 4, where it indicates 2025 actual of 630. The amount is $122,377.96. So that at the time, I don't believe we had those numbers. That's why it's not in there. But as of 630, that's the number that we have from victim witness revenue. Other than that, does anyone have any questions?
Supervisor Kirby.
Through the chair to DA Solis. So you already took away my other professional services question, which is my favorite one to ask because you explained it ahead of time. So I did want to ask about the data processing costs. Do we anticipate that this Axon Justice software might save on costs elsewhere? Are we thinking that it might reduce the amount of time it takes to get through some of this?
So it would reduce a lot. It would reduce possibly from getting an extra paralegal and getting a paralegal that would do nothing but discovery or send out discovery to defense counsel or to individuals who are pro se,
Okay.
it'll cut down on that.
Okay, and then I had one more question. So the revenue, the program revenue for district attorney, and this isn't huge dollars, but it looks like we're sitting at 2,800 of revenue as of 6/30, but we're proposing 40,000 in the budget is our operating revenue. Can anybody tell me where that number's coming from and why would we feel comfortable with that?
So the program revenue is for the deferred prosecution agreements.
Okay,
So we reached out to other counties of how they do certain deferred prosecution agreements. Other counties would charge a fee for the deferred prosecution agreements, like between $300 to $500. So that's where that revenue, that's where that's coming from. the
Okay.
Program revenue.
and do we currently not charge a fee for deferred prosecution?
We currently charge a minimal fee, but
Okay,
not in all the DPAs there's a fee that's being charged.
okay.
Any other questions?
I'm done.
Supervisor Pearson,
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval of district attorney's budget.
it's been moved by Supervisor Pearson. Second by Vice Chair Gashke to approve. Supervisor Pearson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say thank you for working hard to cut taxes with that fee that you have worked on, that you talked about. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Very welcome. And I yield.
Okay. What is your current staffing of ADAs? How many do you have?
12.5,
You have 12.5.
including myself.
Are you counted in the numbers when I?
Yeah, including myself, 12.5.
Okay, and so you're budgeted to have 22 and a half,
No,
or what, are you
But
budgeted 20 and a half?
21 and a half. We just received 2 new positions or 2.5 new positions in October. So we're budgeted for 21.5, including myself, for the whole total.
Well, I just want to give you fair warning that when this comes up in the budget resolution on Thursday, you might want to be here. Because if we're gonna approve funding a couple of more people to go in there, we need to see that staffing up and stay at a fully staffed number for X amount of time. So I'm just gonna tell you, I mean, normally we're gonna approve the budget, but there's gonna be questions on that. So I'm just giving you heads up because we don't like to, not invite staff when something comes up later. So just want to.
So then, just so we're clear then, so when I go on Thursday, am I going to be able to answer those questions, or is it gonna be citizens' comments? Because then we could address them now. If not, then I will address them on Thursday. I just want to make sure that I'm gonna be able to.
You will
respond to the
be, you will
questions.
be able to respond.
Okay, so I'll be there
I will
Thursday.
not let you not respond. So
Okay.
that You'll have fair chance to respond to anything. That's why I'm telling you up front, you might want to be there because,
I plan on being there.
okay, all right. Supervisor Gears,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And when I made my motion to approve the DA's budget, we did get the budget resolution in advance and relative to the DA, I did see that section that, contingent, staffing that you commented on, and my motion intended to be supportive of that also.
well, you can't approve the budget.
But not
resolution.
approving it, but supporting it. So I was just approving the budget in front of you.
Yes,
But supporting that idea, I think that's a good idea.
where's court counsel? I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know about
I
that.
don't think we can do that.
Yeah, I don't think we can do that. You could support the budget resolution on Thursday, but right now you're approving the budget.
What you're saying is accurate, but I do think it's a good idea, that policy.
And you're certainly welcome to state that, and even I opened the door to you talking about it if you wanted to, but we're not gonna mix, your feelings about something Thursday that you like it or not in your motion, because that would cause me some heartache. So, okay. So right now before us is the approval of the DA's budget. Any other questions or comments? Supervisor Kirby.
Sorry, through the chair to Patty or Varna, whoever comes up with this number. What is the, just thinking about this, what is the float factor built into this budget? Are we assuming that by the end of the year, everybody's going to be hired? We're gonna be at 21.5 right at the beginning of the year, or 20 and a half?
21 and a half.
Oh, 20, oh, it is, okay, just 21.
Just to clarify,
Yeah,
the staffing that is being asked about are the ADAs, and those are state employees, so they are not reflected in this budget.
oh,
We're
okay,
fully staffed in county. County employees were fully staffed,
okay,
and we just filled, paralegal and victim witness, and we had several applications, and the two positions we're asking for is for victim witness and for paralegals. So we just need more support for victims, so that's why we're asking for those positions.
okay, that makes sense. I didn't realize that, yeah.
Supervisor Nudo.
Just for information, now that you got the two new ADA in October, Eric, do we have to add any other position, county positions, or it's already?
That's where the paralegal and.
So that's
Yeah.
okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Finance.
Uh-oh, one time, no.
Now you're in trouble.
We'll start with purchasing.
And one. Also,
266 to
Falls under
268.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Fleming with the Purchasing Division. And 266 starts our budget. And on page 267. We have a pretty simple budget. We're mostly salary. We are Division of 3, including myself. We do have a few things in there for professional services. Our budget holds the money that pays our risk management contract with Fort. And that pretty much represents all of the professional services contract. And then we do some small office supplies and subscriptions. Subscriptions, I'm waiting to reduce that. Amazon, actually, we got a deal through WCA to where that's reduced that quite a bit. We still have some NIGP subscription money in there, but we probably won't need all that 2,000. I want to leave it in there as a placeholder if that's okay. Because the next time he wants a new boat or something, I'm imagining we're going to lose that major discount that we have for the Amazon Business Prime. Advertising staying pretty stable. That's just for our legal advertisements for our bids. Staff reduction or staff development's been reduced a little bit. We're going to less conference type things. It's more online and virtual training now, so that actually helps us a little bit. It's the one thing that got cheaper is the staff development. We've got some newer staff, but they're coming along pretty well, and the online training really helps with that. Let's see, we do have a purchasing card rebate program. That's our P card. That also runs through my budget. So
What do you call
anytime,
P card.
the P card, sorry, the purchasing card. So the county has a P card program, credit cards, and we do get a rebate every time we buy something with our county credit card. And it's, fairly substantial. We have a pretty good spend on it. But that's our budget in a nutshell. It's pretty simple, pretty easy. Do we have any questions or?
When I looked at it, the major increase was just in medical insurance. I didn't see anything.
Yeah, I think that happens when.
I didn't see anything else here that was significantly up or anything.
Yeah, I
So
think that's the difference between somebody having family and not having, we had some staff changes, and I think that's what made that go up quite a bit, is that you've got family people now instead of single.
it's been, Supervisor Kirby. Second. It's been moved by Supervisor Kirby, seconded by Supervisor Gama to approve this budget. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
254, 257. Finance.
We'll start on page 54.
God bless you. You're right over there? Okay, take care of her, Julia.
The finance budget begins on page 254. The detail is on page 255. The 2026 proposed budget levy for the finance division is $1.6 million, which is a reduction of 3.34% of $56,000 compared to the 2025 county board approved budget. The finance budget contains both county and contracted staff, including payroll. Page 255 contains the line item budgets which remain in finance and make up the levy portion. These costs are not charged out to Department of Human Services or Public Works. Personnel appropriation has a net increase of $25,000 due to scheduled increases. It includes a $2,000 reduction to overtime. The overtime budget in 2025 was related to the implementation of our new payroll software. The contractual appropriation has a net decrease of $82,000. Accounting and auditing services increased by $5,000, and other professional services decreased by $86,000 as we anticipate the use of carryover funds for 2026. The supplies appropriation subscriptions increased $50, and public liability insurance increased $600 due to the countywide allocation adjustment. That sums up the levy portion of general finance. The bottom of page 255 and continuing on to 256 is the public works finance budget. The budgets originate here and then are transferred to the public works department. So you'll notice credits within the transfer lines that bring the levy to zero. The public works related budget has a $28,000 increase for personnel and $5,000 increase to other professional services. The second half of page 256 is the human services finance budget, which works the same way. The budgets originate here and are transferred to human services, resulting in a levy neutral budget. The highlight here is personnel appropriation has a net decrease, and the other professional services has an increase because the Brookside fiscal manager position transferred from county to contract. That concludes the finance budget. Have any questions?
Supervisor Nudo.
Motion to approve it.
So moved by Supervisor Nudo, seconded by Supervisor Kirby. Any questions or comments? Got any more? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you.
Forget to make a motion. No, so, but
Now,
I
the
think you'll put-
administrative services budget begins on page 260. This one's very small. We call this the floor account. This is the second floor expense account for the building. This had an increase in telecommunications of $1,200, a decrease in office supplies by $200, printing and duplication went down $300. Overall, the total budget has been increased.
Seeing none, it's Supervisor Gearston.
Move approval.
It's been moved by Supervisor Gearston, seconded by Supervisor Gama. Any questions or comments on this portion of the budget? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. Debt service,
Do the non-departmental first.
site Clara.
Page 360.
360.
I have 381.
I know, he says it.
Go order of the budget book.
$359 to $361.
If you don't mind, go with the non-departmental. So the non-departmental budget includes line items that are not department or division specific. They're overarching county type revenues and expenses. So, for example, the salaries credit is $650,000. That's the county's overall vacancy adjustment. That includes projected vacancy for float, as Supervisor Kirby calls it. You're good. Like that different terminology, but still the same concept. for Public Works, Human Services, and the Sheriff's Department keep their vacancies within their department based on the projections that they have. So this is everyone else in all departments other than those three main departments or divisions. The other line items I'd like to point out in this, so the medical insurance line item here is a line item that we use any adjustments related to the overall health insurance for the countywide. Instead of adjusting everyone's budget in the entire county of $525,000 piecemeal, we do it all in a chunk there based on an adjustment at the end of the budget.
Is every department's 125? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Where are all the pieces?
That folds into the entire counties. But
So it's
instead of,
125 for each, not just everything folded into 125, correct?
no, the 125 is part of the overall health insurance costs. But this one component, normally we could have broken it out into all the different departments in the county.
Okay.
It's unnecessary at the end. See, the more interesting components of this budget are the revenues. So sales tax, this committee hears me talking about sales tax every month when I do the general fund report. So I think we touched on this in the last meeting in the budget for the general fund report. We're projecting, or we're budgeting 23.4 million for sales tax. So just to break that down a little bit, because we kind of got bogged down with that a little bit at the last meeting. So as you can see, the budget for sales tax revenue line item for 2025 is 21.58 million. For 2025, we're projecting 22.4 million based on the first 6 months of this year. We've had a 12% increase for the first 6 months of this year. And if we assume 6% going forward for the last 6 months of the year, that gets us to the 22.4 million. So looking at 26, projecting for that for budget purposes, we're projecting the 23.4, which is $1 million more, which represents 5.5% increase year over the projection for 2025. I should say 4%. I'm sorry, 4% increase. The 5.5% refers to what our last 5 years, what our year over year percentage increase average is. So we're budgeting that conservatively at a 4% increase instead of 5.5. The other material line item I'd like to point out here is the state shared taxes revenue line item. You can see that it's going up almost 700,000. So the state shared taxes is made up of 3 or 4 different types of revenues that we receive from the state. We receive county municipal aid. We receive a component for personal property tax. That was changed as part of the Wisconsin Act 12. And we also get utility aid. So in the good department news area, since 2023, the state shared revenue has gone up $3 million. I have it broken down by in 2024, the state increased our county municipal aids, supplementing that revenue line item. So when we talk about revenues and expenses having to do with mandates coming down from the state, this is something where we're getting more revenue from the state. So that's why I want to make it a point to point this out. So we've received $1.4 million more in supplemental county and municipal aid. We're receiving now $757,000 each year for this personal property tax in addition. And then for utility aid, we've seen a $600,000 increase on that, and that has to do with the utility aid component of this revenue has to do with the power sources that are in Kenosha County. So when the power plant closed in Pleasant Prairie and closed up, we were anticipating a reduction in this. But since that time, we've added solar farms, various energy, type components out in the county. And this year, we're starting to see the increase of our revenue as a result of that. There's other initiatives at the state level that you may have heard about regarding the storage, the battery storage that may, in the future, may add more revenue resulting of that, but we're wait and see for that. So those would be the most material items in non-departmental. With that, I'll take any questions.
Supervisor Gama.
Thank you. Just out of curiosity, what does NSF stand for? Line item 448530 on page 361.
NSF, oh, service fee.
Yeah.
So when we have a bounce check that we receive from someone, there's a fee that is assessed.
Okay. I know there's something else. That's what I'm saying. Sanitation services?
Non-sufficient funds, I believe.
Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
Supervisor Kirsten.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the budget.
It's been moved by Supervisor Kirsten, seconded by Supervisor Nudo. So historically, you've been going up 4 or 5% on that sales tax?
5.5% in the last 5 years, yes.
Okay. See, the other one's $25,000. This is $1 million. So this is, if he misses on this one, this is a problem.
Well, yeah.
All right.
Which one thing though, I can recall almost every year, we went over the projection.
Right.
So that's what makes me feel comfortable with that, because we have been doing it. The other one, we haven't, so.
Still $1 million. I trust Barna. That's where we're going.
No pressure.
Yeah. Hopefully, the economy doesn't greater and you look like a bill.
Yeah. Well, then we have a meeting. Barna, you told me $1 million. So what's going on?
Bigger problems then.
All right. Any other questions or comments on this non-departmental? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you.
The next one will be the debt service. Page 382, 83, 383. These are big numbers, but it's relatively easy to explain. Debt service, so this is what we pay on the amounts that we borrow for our capital budgets. We're projecting just short of $850,000 increase. This is something that we'll touch and get into more detail when we have Ellers come on Thursday, when we talk about our initial resolution and our overall county financing plan. So the amounts for the principal and interest, those are coming right off of calculations that Ellers does for us. The revenue side, we have a city payment. That's their payment for their share of when we did remodeling of the safety building, their component of it. Just like when Josh was in here talking about the joint service of the budget, that was their component regarding remodeling. And then the premium on bonds revenue line item has to do with when we sell our bonds, because we're a AAA rated county. We receive those premiums from the buyer of our bonds, and we use that and are required to use that to reduce levy. And so those are reflected there. With that, I'll take any other questions.
Nice to be AAA. Any questions or comments? You have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Supervisor Gama, seconded by Supervisor Nudo. Any question? Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had any refis this year.
We have not.
Rates have been not conducive to that.
Yeah, every year Ellers gives us a report where they either recommend or not recommend us.
So in our current market, the prognostication is for perhaps somewhat reduction in interest rates. Not to ask you if this particular tax would be a little bit difficult to calculate, but maybe by our budget meeting next week, just if you had an idea, you know, we took a look at fiscal 2026, 25 basis points, 50 basis points reduction. Would we see any of our borrowing structures? We benefit from that, would we think about refinance?
Yeah, we can pose that question to Ellers. They're the ones that, because there are costs involved with that, so then you have to weigh, you know, is it worth us?
But in years, when you're going to generally 100 basis points, 1%, it's a kind of real.
I mean, for a person, you know, whole mortgage or something like that, that's usually the going rate, but because of the cost and the big dollar amounts, we'd have to check with them to see what.
So we look forward to it, we appreciate it.
Sure, that's a good question.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. Fake like you were leaving?
Inviting our
Oh.
consultants to come into the room and us, they've been so patiently waiting out the house. Good evening, Chairman Getz, supervisors. Happy to be here to talk about next year. If you are okay with it, Chairman Gans, I'll present the HR divisional budget first. Then we'll go into the insurances. And as I said, I have our insurance consultants, Chris Messer and Laura.
324, 325. Thank you. That's just the way I'd want to do it.
Okay, perfect. And then, so I'll cover the insurances and then civil service commissions. So human resources, page 322, as you said, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Mary. So as you will see, I am requesting a reclass. We have an HR specialist role currently, and I'm looking for a reclass to a benefits coordinator position. That would be one pay grade higher to an E7. I will tell you there's an error on this chart, and we'll get that corrected in the final document. But we're looking for the HR specialist to move to a benefits coordinator to an E7, not an E8.
It was costed as E7, that's the number that's reflected in the budget, but we had a typo.
So half of that position and half of our assistant HR director get charged to the insurance budgets. So that's why you see a 0.5 FTE for those two roles. They are full-time positions. They just get split between the two budgets. So if we move into the HR budget itself, we are looking at a reduction of 4.7% from the 2025 adopted budget. You'll see an increase in salaries with one reclass, of course, and then regular increases on employees' anniversaries. And then it also includes the 2% wage schedule that we're proposing, and it will be, we can cover that further when we go through the budget resolution document as well. So for the human resources divisional budget, we of course serve all of the other divisions in the county. So you will see our salary appropriation gets allocated out to the other divisions, which is why you have that negative number there. And then some of our more minor expenses, again, some small reductions, not looking for anything significant there. When we move down to countywide, the temporary salaries, we have a reduction of 5,000. Most of the divisions are budgeting in their own salary appropriations for their anticipated
temporary needs. We had done that differently in the past where it was all put into countywide, but now we're looking to the divisions to budget for those that they can anticipate. And then we can help them offset if need be, if things come up. There's a reduction in unemployment compensation, and then a slight reduction in employee testing and examinations. We are implementing a new HRIS system. We've talked about that over the course of meetings. We are looking to go live first of the year, which is very exciting for us, but it is a lot of work. So I just want to put a shout out to my team, and of course payroll and IT, but there's a lot of work going into that. Cause for part of that reduction there in employee testing is that our new payroll system will do the record keeping for our I-9s rather than our third party that we've been using. So we have a little bit of offset. Other professional services, I have reduced that significantly. I'm not budgeting for any major projects for next year. That's just what's notable for the division budget.
Supervisor Gearston.
Mr. Chairman, I would move approval. If I get a second, I have a question.
Well, let's just wait till she presents the insurance.
Oh,
so we can.
You want the whole, the insurances and everything? All right, good. And I'll
I mean, that's all part of her, right? Do we want to approve HR or do we want to do?
Generally, I think you've done them separately.
All right. It's been moved by
I'll keep my
Supervisor
motion on the floor
Gearston,
then.
seconded by Supervisor Nudo. You had the floor, you had a question.
Yeah, through the chair to budget director, the unemployment line for 2025 was $20,000. And for 2026 is 35,000. That's, so it's an increase, right?
It's an increase, correct?
Okay, good. That's my question. I yield. Thank you.
Do you have something you want to say about that?
No, I would just add when COVID happened and there was a lot of unemployment filing and there was a lot of fraud going on, we built up a significant credit, if you will, that we worked our way down and now we're back into seeing
We're
actual.
done with the credits.
Yeah, we're kind of balancing that out.
Yeah, because when you said it's a reduction for 15,000, I'm going, well, that's not really a reduction. We started at 20. So,
From actual.
but I wasn't gonna say anything, but Supervisor Gearston said it, so, okay. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the HR portion is passed. You want to go insurance next?
Yes,
Okay.
page 370. Everybody has.
Yeah, I saw. Is that what she passed?
I do, sure.
No, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For this, I really focus on this handout, what we're strategically, our goal is to steer participants to the lowest cost, highest quality providers. That gets us our best result in terms of health insurance. We want to keep the cost of having insurance affordable. So the cost increase that we're anticipating, we're looking to shift that cost increase to plan utilization. This helps drive healthcare consumerism, while it gives our employees the peace of mind to know that the coverage is there if they need it at an affordable premium. Our move last year in the PPO plan to the Nexus ACO network is returning excellent network discounting for us. So that was a good move and we want to stick with that. We are proposing some plan design changes for next year. So in that document that you have in front of you, page 2 is our PPO plan or for our general employees. So for those of you who may be a little less familiar, we basically have 2 plans. We have one for the general employees, the PPO, and then we have a high deductible health plan that is for our sworn employees. General employees pay a share of the cost, the premium cost. Sworn employees do not pay a premium share. So we'll focus on the PPO first. You'll see the current plan design to the left, and then the proposed plan design to the right. So we're looking to increase deductibles for individual coverage from $500 to $750 and family from $1,000 to $1,500. And we're looking at out-of-pocket maximums increasing by 17%. Coinsurance for our lowest cost providers, the tier 1, will drop to 90% and tier 2 providers 70%. So with that Nexus ACO network, those tier 1 providers are our lowest cost, high quality providers. We are proposing to increase the ER copay from $200 to $300. We do have a lot of ER usage, and a lot of it is showing that it could be things dealt with outside of the ER, and of course, ER is costly, so we're looking to change that copay. And then the only change for prescription would be the tier 4 or specialty prescription copay. So it's 10% up to a maximum amount, and we're looking to increase that maximum to $250 from the now $200. For the high deductible health plan, which is the next page. Again, this is for sworn employees. They do not pay any premium, and they have not seen a plan design change in years. We are looking to increase deductibles. So for individuals from $2,400 to $3,000, and for family from $4,800 to $6,000. Coinsurance remains the same, and the out-of-pocket maximums would be an 18% increase. We would be adding a teledoc copay because we're able to, because of some changes regulation-wise for high deductible health plans. So a $10 copay for teledoc, which is a virtual visit. And, you know, that is a very cost-effective way for people to get services. And then the tier 4 specialty copay would be the same increase as we did for the PPO plan. So even with these changes that we're proposing to plan designs, we do stay within our benchmarks. The last couple of pages of this document are the, we call it a benchmarking scorecard that our insurance consultant puts together and shows where we line up with other similar plans. So that's there for your perusal. I won't go through that completely. On page 4 are the premiums for the PPO plan. We are proposing only a 1% increase for premiums, and we're able to do that because of those plan design changes that are going to garner us savings to offset healthcare increases for next year. So once again, we're going to continue to partner with WellRight, which is our wellness program provider. Participants can earn better premiums by participating toward their own wellness effort. That's why you see those tiers of premiums. So you have bronze, silver, and the gold, which is the highest tier. So based on a participant's engagement in their wellness, they can lessen their premium, if you will, and contribute to their own well-being. So the share of premium that employees will pay per tier is not changing, but overall, the premium, the budgeted premium is going up 1%. All right. The next page are dental premiums. We are getting a 6% increase from Delta Dental. So you see the changes there. No plan design changes for dental. And then vision, we're still enjoying a rate hold, rate guarantee. So we have no plan design and no premium change for vision.
Those, wanted to point out, those are costs that are borne by the employee.
Yes, dental and vision are voluntary. So that means we as employees pay the full cost if we want to participate. There's no county cost for those. Thank you, Barb.
Any questions or comments from the committee?
The consultants here, we want to have them in their expertise.
It's been moved by Supervisor Nudo, seconded by Supervisor Gearston to approve the insurance portion. Supervisor Kirby.
So I was just gonna make a comment, as an insurance user myself, even with these increases, we have a very generous plan. I would love to have those out of pocket.
Any other questions or concerns? Being none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
We'll move right into workers' compensation, page 375. 375. So overall, we're seeing a reduction of about 115,000. We've been having surpluses in this budget, so we did not feel comfortable budgeting an increase. For this account, like others, this gets allocated out to the divisions. Their costs, and that's based on the type of work that's done in each division and experience in that kind of thing. I will point out, we have now had a full year. It's been a year and 3 quarters, but we had a full year last year of the nurse triage program for workers' compensation, which has been very successful for us. And that results in employees being able to do a lot more self-care with the assistance of the nurse through the nurse triage program, instead of defaulting directly to the ER or, those types of places when it's not necessary. When it's necessary, absolutely. But the self-care through the nurse triage has been a nice feature for us, and it's resulting in some financial benefits. I will point out that you will see an increase in other professional services in this budget. 376. WIMIC, which is our TPA, is now billing their fee out separately, where in the past they lumped it in with claims. So it's not that it's going up by that much, we've just separated it out between claims and other professional services. Claims themselves were reduced a little over 81,000 based on trends. We are budgeting a slight increase in our dividends based on WIMIC's performance projections. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, no, we're talking workers' compensation.
Yeah.
No, jumped ahead. But we do Yeah, interest income is the same as adopted.
Oh,
Any questions on workers' comp?
moved by Supervisor Gearston, seconded by Supervisor Kirby. Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
Moving on to liability insurance. Page 378. A premium is going up 32,000 for liability. This includes our cyber liability coverage, cybersecurity. We're getting a great rate for that through WIMIC and their member buying power. So while there's an increase, it's, we really are getting a great rate on that. Again, claims are reduced by trend. And then here is where we are projecting our dividends to go up based on WIMIC's projections. So overall, it's another good story to tell in terms of insurance.
At the end of the story.
Reliability insurance.
I moved by Supervisor Nudo, seconded by Supervisor Gama. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Civil service, 354. I know.
What is it now?
So for civil service commission, we have a reduction here as well over adopted. For civil service, our switch to testing vendors is garnering savings in our employment testing. That and the fact that we're not adding any sworn FTEs has allowed me to reduce this budget.
Okay. Moved by Supervisor Nudo, seconded by Supervisor Gearston. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
So, there are a few small handbook policy changes that are included in the budget resolution. We want to go over that on Thursday night with the budget resolution.
So did you just create these insurance numbers today? Give this handout? I mean, has anybody seen these before?
We went out over the weekend.
Well, over the weekend, but no, none of our employees have seen these potential.
No. We don't share it with employees until it's finalized. Changes could be made. Open enrollment opens up after the final vote.
Yeah.
So we'll open up open enrollment for employees on the 10th. We hold meetings and we share the information on any changes that may occur.
Okay. Nothing else here? Okay, we're good. Motion to adjourn. Been moved by Supervisor Gama, seconded by Supervisor Kirby. You said that with too much gusto. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.